Hello, hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Let me know if you can hear me. Hello, hello, good evening, good afternoon. Just waiting for a few more people to join us. Let me know if you can hear me. Perfect, thank you. Make sure you share the live. We're on Supine Music Radio. If you're listening, make sure you share it. We're doing a part 2 tonight. It's going to be a great conversation. So let's just wait for a few more people and we'll get started. Welcome in. Make sure you share the live. Just waiting for a few more people to join us. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is Renegades. Can you guess what song? How's everyone doing? How's everyone's Monday? How's everyone's weekend? Let me know. Just waiting for a few more people to join us, and then we'll, like I said, we'll get started. think we got a good amount of people in here. I think we can get started. So hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Danielle George. Welcome to All Things Pan. We are also live on Steel Pan Music Radio. So make sure if you don't have Instagram, go there. You know, we're spreading the word. So I am your host, Danielle George. For those that are new to this page or new listening to this podcast, I normally talk to panists, arrangers, tuners, builders about all things pan. But lately I've been doing a lot of open discussions because I feel like there's a lot of things that need to be discussed. And I can now do this. We are sponsored by Pantastics 868. We have everything from tenor sticks all the way to bass sticks. A couple people asked if we just sell the rubbers. We do. I personally don't have any here in North America, but my dad does in Trinidad. So we will try our best to get it to you one way or another. Make sure you follow them on Instagram and on Facebook, and we'll get you sorted. So for those that missed last week or just heard bits and pieces of last week, we were talking, the topic was, can steel pan players or panists become millionaires? I wouldn't say it was a little heated, but there was a good discussion. I got a ton of messages after that podcast, and it was interesting to hear everyone's. I am just looking to see if I can invite someone in here. A lot of discussions, to be honest. A lot of people had some really big opinions on it. Some people had some thoughts and ideas on how it could happen. One thing that was really big was the marketing. Marketing was really, really, really big. And how can we market pan? How can we put pan forward to hit other media, hit other genres, so we in turn can get the money. A lot of people were saying that you could arrange and compose your own music and get that on so people can buy it. That is another way. Another way of doing it was make an album so you can sell it and get it that way. I want to know your guys' thoughts, because I do have a lot of questions that I want to ask you guys, just to get an idea on where we stand. I know a lot of things. A couple things popped up this past week, so we may touch on that again, or not again. We may touch on that, just to expand the conversation. But my question to you guys, some of you are new on here tonight, even though some are listening on Steel Pan Music Radio. Can panists become millionaires? That's my question to you guys. I want you guys to let me know. And then on top of that, I also want to ask you, is pan an unspoken religion? Because when it comes to pan, all we think about is panyards, carnival, panorama, music. Like, we are just engulfed in pan. So is that like an unspoken religion, do you think? Greg says, as producers, maybe. Okay. It can happen, for sure. Anyone else that has any comments? If you have any comments or questions, for those that are listening and watching on Instagram, there is a question bubble at the bottom of your screen. So you're more than welcome to put things like comments and questions in there, because I do not want to miss anything, because last week a lot of comments just kept flying through and I missed a few, and I don't want to miss any this time. So let me know. I will give you guys a minute to answer that question, because it's I wouldn't say a heated topic, but it's an interesting topic. DJ Snake says, arrangers, definitely not. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Can hear you. We can hear you.
Good. I'm great.
You're great.
I can't complain.
That's good. Do you want to introduce yourself to the people that do not know who you are?
My name is Sherwin Thwaites. I am a panist, producer, now a filmmaker. Wow, it's the first time I probably ever said that.
Okay,
Um,
that's good.
yeah, I guess I embody everything the title of your podcast is called, All Things Pan. So
hmm I love that.
that's who I am.
That's who you are. So there was a comment that just came up. Greg said, once you can produce the one club banger beat, it opens doors.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, if there's any Pharrells or Timberlands in the pan community, I mean, I'm a producer as well, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely an avenue. I just think when you think traditional pan first, I think
hmm
what we need to do is stop separating pan. We always have to say, pan this, pan that. It's just music. We're musicians at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
we kind of put we. It's almost like we have our own set of rules as
Yeah.
panists versus all any other instrument, and we don't. We follow the same rules, or we
hmm
should follow the same rules because that's what'll get us to where we need to be. And I think we always try to set ourselves apart when no, we're musicians at the end of the day, and we should follow what other musicians do. Like, how do guitar players make it? How do piano players make it? How do drummers make it?
hmm
That's that's just my take on it. I'm not the end all be all, but that's kind of what I see. Like, we have the saying called the pan community or the pan industry. No, we're musicians. We belong
hmm
in that industry. So it's kind of my. Oh man, it's the man who owns
Don't do that.
Panorama.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
What are
I
we on?
know it. Don't
Number
do that.
15? Number
Oh my
15 now?
God.
Oh my gosh.
Don't do that. Listen, your name is Thwaites. Don't play with me.
You put me on the same screen with that dude? Oh my
I'm
Oh my
gosh.
sorry.
God.
I'm
Here
not
we
I'm
worthy.
go.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I am not
Oh my
worthy.
gosh.
I am not worthy. Congrats, bro.
Hello.
Congrats.
I
Thank you,
can't see
brother.
him, but I know everyone else can, so that's a good thing. That's all that matters. Everyone needs to see
Yeah.
the king.
The king.
Exactly.
The king. You see up there? You see that thing up there? That's my king. That's the king. That's the real
That's the
king.
king. Okay,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
You both are kings. You both are kings in the pan world. You both are kings.
Yes. Good
Anyway,
evening. Good
sir, do
evening.
you want to introduce yourself for those that don't know who you are?
My name is Al Foster, a regular youth, and I live in Toronto, and I'm a steel pan
Six
musician.
God.
I'm a musician, and I'm an arranger of steel pan music, and I'm proud. I'm a proud member of this global steel pan community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
That's
Do you
cool.
want to chime in on the topic tonight?
Yeah, so I want to say, first of all, Sherwin, Mr. Thwaites, we'll call you Mr. Thwaites.
Thanks, brother.
Good seeing you, and for sure, I do agree wholeheartedly with what you say. We're all musicians at the end of the day. Um, I'm a musician. Steel pan is my instrument, and so to the question that you asked about can steel pan can you ask the question again?
Yeah. Can panists become millionaires?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Um, the so the short answer is yes. The long answer or the details that are missing or that we have to now unpack is how do we get there? And that is where the work comes in. Because
Mm-hmm.
I remember saying to you last week in a conversation that I think when Steel Pan was created, I want to say that when Steel Pan was created, the the people who created didn't see this, just because of the history. When you consider the history, so this is still relatively new to everyone,
Mm-hmm.
and that's important that we recognize that it's new, still relatively new in the global aspect, in comparison to other instruments that are popular and made popular in the world. So, that becomes a barrier, um, for lack of a better word. That becomes a barrier. That becomes something that we have to now sell, again, for lack of a better word, to
Mm,
the overall audience. And there's a lot of stigmas attached to it too,
right.
because steel pan, when you think about steel pan, when a lot of the popular thought is that um, steel pan is associated with Jamaica, right? Because
Yeah.
you equate that, and even now in 2025, in my travels as a musician, sometimes you hear people say, the first thing they say to you is, I was in Jamaica and I heard steel pan, and I'm like, no, steel pan's from Trinidad, and just
Hmm.
it's an educational piece that you have to really explain to people. So that's part of the barrier that we face. Um, and another one is the steel pan community on a whole. We're all passionate people, and everybody has their own claim. We have different levels of interest. We have different levels of commitment to it, and that in itself, some people want to push it a certain way, and other people want to push it another different way, and those things don't always gel on the same page. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we do have so again, the short answer is yes, I think it can, but as I did chime in the comments last week saying that there's a lot of discipline involved for the people who are doing it right now. um, for the people who do actually, and we're talking about anyone who actually makes a living doing this thing.
Hmm.
There is a level of discipline that is required. It's not different from anything else, but it's
No.
just
100%.
something that we get. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a question here. Why is that a barrier? Someone's just curious.
Why is what a barrier? I mentioned a whole bunch of things. Um, I think, well, the barriers that I mentioned, I think it's just because of the lack of information. Like, I don't think that I don't get me wrong. Steel Pen is global at this point,
Hmm.
but there still is a lot to learn. There still is a lot to. I'm just reading the comments as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Jamaica did.
the Jamaica bit is. Are you asking me why is that a barrier?
Think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the question.
Oh, why is it a barrier? I don't remember. I don't
I
remember where I was going with that. But I said that. Sorry. Go ahead.
I understand what he's saying. He's saying why is uh, someone saying that the instrument is from Jamaica a barrier that we face all the time? And I don't think it's a barrier. I think it's just a misconception
Yes.
Yeah.
that we that goes back far because if you spoke about it, steel pan was introduced when you go back to Harry Belafonte and Pete Seeger, I think his name. He had that video. It's a black and white video. Pete Seeger,
Hmm.
and he came to Trinidad. I forget the name of the video. I'm so sorry. Came to Trinidad, and he saw the instruments in the 50s. It's if I find the video, Danielle, I'm gonna send it to you so that people can
I
actually.
think I think I think I know it. It has like an oil drum. It's like the writings on an oil drum.
Yeah, and he
Uh-huh.
interviewed Hugh Lloyd was there, and
Yes.
he interviewed. It was in black and white, and
Hmm.
he interviewed them. And when he came back up after all of his interviews in Trinidad, he called it steel drum. While
Hmm.
Hmm.
I remember specifically, they were saying steel pan.
Steel
They were
pan.
saying
Yeah.
pan. They were saying pan in the video,
Hmm.
and it's almost like that video, Harry Belafonte, which Harry Belafonte, which I think isn't a bad thing necessarily because he did put Calypso on the map.
Mm-hmm.
and the Caribbean on the map just because of how huge he was at the time. So I don't ever discredit what he's done, but it painted a picture of vacation, of islands, of what we wear. That it
Mm-hmm.
painted that picture, and we never corrected it. So
Right.
we never said as a whole it's called a pan or a steel pan. And
Mm-hmm.
there's books that have been written now, thank God, like the likes of Kim Johnson, that really specify like what it is and what instrument is. But the flowered shirt still stays because it was kind of it was inbred in how it was introduced.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of, and then when you go to different islands, the pan started to move to different islands. So Jamaica was huge with that. Jamaica was huge with the tourism part. So when people went to Jamaica, they heard reggae, they
That's the
saw
first thing.
and heard pan. So
Mm-hmm.
it just I think got generalized that way. Whereas Trinidad, I don't think we did a good enough job of marketing in those days. I should say
Right.
in those days. So that has just stayed, and then you get migrants migrants who come up and they're playing pan, but you want that gig. So hey, can you wear native attire? You wear a flowered shirt. You want that gig. You're trying to survive.
Hmm.
You're trying
Mm-hmm.
to survive, and you got to think back 60s, 70s. Like I've been doing a documentary, so I'm interviewing a lot of these older guys, and they were just trying to survive. So
Hmm.
Right.
and it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool to be Caribbean. Not up to the 80s, it wasn't cool to be Caribbean. Nobody had flags and locks and all. It wasn't cool. So I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of that is what has caused what we see now, and we haven't. There hasn't been a big enough push to change what pan looks like, how it's marketed, what what music it plays is, I think, subjective because we can play anything.
Right.
So
Yeah.
but I don't think there's been a wide enough global push to really define what it is. And I mean, that also goes to there's just not enough instruments being made, and it's still a relatively young instrument. There's tons of things as to why. So it's not, it's just, I think it's just something that we have to continue to work on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I
Oh,
mean
there's
when
a
I say
lot of
barriers.
comment.
Yeah.
And I
A
guess
comment
that's the
came in
barriers.
from. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate
Comment came
that.
in from Greg. Is that not the fault of the TNT tourism though? They really don't do much push tourism year round and enhance the educational aspect. And then another comment by Brooklyn Islander said, should the government of Trinidad and Tobago play a more predominant part in pushing steel pan like they do carnival?
I don't necessarily put it on Trinidad
Same.
wholeheartedly. I'll be
Same.
Yeah.
honest, just because it's an instrument. Like,
Yeah.
it's an
Mm-hmm.
instrument first. We have to separate the carnival aspect from and panorama. That's a
Yeah.
cultural event that happens every year. There's
Seasonal.
so many seasonal.
It's
There's
very
It's
seasonal.
seasonal, yeah.
Yeah, it's
that's
one
like
time every year.
Yeah, that's once
Mm.
every year. So there's so many other things that happen with the instrument of the pan that happens all throughout the year that we should, so I don't put it wholeheartedly on Trinidad.
I
Yes,
don't either.
it's the birthplace, so definitely they should have a big say in a global, whatever we do with it globally. But I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
put the tourism part, not the talking about it and getting it out there solely on them. We fly the flag out
Right.
here.
I'll tell you my
Exactly.
experience. I'll tell you my experience. So, just for transparency, um, my ancestry is actually not Trinidadian. We
I
want to
know
make
that.
that clear.
I'm
I
kidding.
know that. Tell the world.
So yeah, we gotta let them know. So I am of Jamaican parentage. Both my parents were born in Jamaica. My father is no longer with us, but was born in Jamaica. My mother also, and she followed calypso, and I was exposed to pan and calypso at a very young age. through her involvement in, with Calypso and just Carnival Caravan, as they call it in Toronto, through
Mhm.
that lens. Um, and I lost my train of thought, but basically what I'm saying is, I lost my train of thought. I lost my
It's
train of
okay.
thought with that.
It's
It's
okay.
okay. It's okay.
I'll remember it. I'll remember it soon.
Okay, no worries. We can come back. So
Yeah.
my question to you guys is, what do we do as a Pan community to one, push Pan, and to, I don't know if you want to say educate the masses of the
I
instrument? Because
remember what I was gonna say.
I don't think a lot of people know the history of Pan. They just say, I'm a Pan player. I'm gonna go play Pan, and that's it. That's all I need to know.
So I remember what I was gonna say actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I say that because the my experience in Canada learning steel pan was from Trinidadians who migrated to Canada, and I get that information from them. I think
Mhm.
that on a whole, um, the people who I've been in contact with were the people who I've learned from were very passionate about the culture, very passionate about everything with regards to steel band, and brought it and shared it, but didn't really spread it. We shared it, but we kind of, when you go somewhere, you bring something with you, but it's to share, but you're still holding on to it a little bit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think because steel pan is still relatively new and we're doing this, we're trying to keep it what it is, and there's almost like a fear of letting it go. And I think
Mm.
that from my experiences with the people who I've learned from, there was always it's a part of you. It's your
Yeah.
culture. You identify with that. You bring it with you, and then you share it. But you share it, and you're just like, keep it here,
Yeah.
Right.
right? And I think that's part of the what I see as the overall one of the things that
Barrier.
barrier is such a bad word, but
Yeah.
for loss of a better word, the
Challenge.
barriers to the challenges that we have in really pushing this thing out there in the right light, and in the right way. And there are people all the time who say, that wasn't how it went. That's not how the story went. And people who know the history, but we're just so we still want to keep it here instead of sharing it. And I think that's one of the things that's really stopping um, the global education piece.
What you say, Allos? Oh, and shout out to Brooklyn Islander Eric. That's my boy. I didn't even know he was there.
Okay.
Thanks for the question. But what you're saying is correct. The issue. You guys watch Shark Tank?
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys get Shark Tank? Okay, cool. So
Mhm.
when people come on Shark Tank, all of the sharks are like, "How can we scale? How can we scale?"
Hmm.
That's the
Mhm.
issue right now with we aren't scaling. We are very
Mhm.
niche. We're very,
Hmm.
very
Yeah.
niche.
Extremely
And
niche.
until we scale, we're not gonna there's not gonna be any pan millionaires or like there's not gonna be any of that uh until we get people coming out butts in seats to see panists play.
Yeah.
Every panist I can go into a club right now and get 30 people. But that's
Mhm.
butts in seats. Why do you think Taylor Swift, Beyonce, all of those people, they're putting butts in? That's scale, not
Yeah.
40 people in any place. That's not doing it because
Mhm.
who's actually making money from music?
Hmm.
From like Spotify. We all know that's cents and points of cents. We're not
Mhm.
we have to perform, but we people have to pay to see us perform. Whether it's
Mhm.
we're let me go back because I think what happened is the music business died. The music business
Mhm.
right now we're in the media business. That
Yeah.
it told. it's 360. That's why they call it a 360 deal if you get signed now. It's everything. It's not just music. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's it's seeing you perform. It's t-shirts. It's your what you know everything. Your streams. It's
Mm-hmm.
everything 360 about you, and we have to get to that point where that's what it's an interactive thing where where that's what
Right.
we're getting from our people and the instrument, whether it's a
Mm-hmm.
solo act, whether it's a band, whether it's a media space. So
Right.
if you're playing covers like I sometimes do,
Mm-hmm.
that those covers will either you can either get money from those covers being shown for how many hours or how many plays, which I did. So
Mm-hmm.
like I think I've heard it in the past, not on your podcast as well as people have told me, why don't we just do original content? Original content, yes, that's
Yeah.
definitely a thing because there's copyrights and publishing, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
you can do covers. It's just a community that you're building so that whether you're selling knives or jockey shorts or whatever, people will come to your community in your space and buy that from you. So
Yeah.
and it's the same thing that you just did. You just showed me pan sticks that you're selling on your platform because you built your
Mm-hmm.
community. So
Yeah.
we as panists, as a global pan community, have to continue to build our communities
And there are
and
Right.
communities that are
scale.
doing that, but we just have to scale it, like you said. Yeah,
It just has to scale. It just has to. If
yeah,
it
Mm-hmm.
scales, then you'll start
yeah.
to see a lot of
Because
pans
you do
being made.
see, yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you do see like when you go out to play, for example, someone might come and ask you, do you have a CD or do you have a shirt? People are looking for ways to support like that, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times, and I'm guilty of this too, even with the steel band that I associate with. We don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have that stuff readily available for people. So it's like an opportunity that's missed. There are
Yeah.
some groups around, and I won't even try and rack off names, but there are groups that are really really good at that, and we just really need to see more of it, and just to kind of make it more sustainable like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there are, and and like Sherwin said, he's absolutely right. It's something that can be scaled.
Mm-hmm. There's a
Let
couple
me ask
comments
you.
that came in.
Go
We're
ahead,
live
Brianna.
on Sopan Music Radio. Thank you for listening. Fidel has a comment or a question here. Do you feel like the production um, uh, rate of pan production when it comes to pan, is it an issue in regards to scaling? I don't know what he's trying to say. Like, do
Um,
you guys understand?
uh,
Is that the rate
it
in numbers or the
like our pans
quality?
being made fast enough. Our pans
I
being
think
made
so.
fast enough.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, again, if we have the supply, but
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of a risk because you make all these steel pans. Like, I'm just going by what I think you're trying to ask. If
Yeah.
you make all these steel pans and you stock them, who are you selling them to? So there kind of has to be that market, that supply and demand. And I think for the most part, the steel pan builders that I know, they may, in certain times of the year, there are hot times and cold times, that they
Yeah.
may stock a few things, but for the most part, it's really made to order,
Yeah.
because we just don't have the means. They don't have the means um, to build and maintain that stock and have it sitting there, because then all the time you've invested in it and it's just sitting there. It's
Mhm.
just like an article of clothing. You buy 10 t-shirts and you don't sell them, your inventory you're stuck in it's just stuck in your inventory and you can't turn it over. And steel pan, again,
Right.
being the niche that it is, it's not something where you can say, well, this steel pan, we've had it for a month, let's mark it down so that we can
Yeah.
move it fast.
Was it?
The market for that you know, is very, very small, even if it even exists.
Mm-hmm. Greg has a comment or a question, or maybe both. What about removing the word traditional from your vocab? This is just my independent observation. Too many people are focused on what is traditional, whereas the aspect is of evolution.
That's an excellent point, and I could say I'm guilty of that. And I
Mm-hmm.
say traditional. I'm also learning. I'm no different from anyone else, and anything that I say, I also don't exclude myself from it. It's definitely
Yeah.
something that I have as part of my vocabulary. And you're absolutely right. Traditional, um, in the sense we do have to get rid of that word, and we have to, and that's part of growing, right? It's part of growing.
Understood.
Steel pan is an industry.
Yeah.
So it's also a mentality that we have to have. There's so many different areas. Your question relates specifically to steel panists becoming millionaires, but in steel pan, they're bands, they're individual musicians, they're pan tuners, and pan
Builders.
builders, and they're
Yeah.
not always the same thing, right?
Yep.
So they're different segments of it, and yeah, so it's a whole industry, and the word traditional does need to. We're caught up in a lot of habits and old ways, and
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate that comment.
Greg's
Yeah.
not from Trinidad. Can't be. I can hear his point of view. It's he's coming from a different point of view, which is
He's
very cool.
from he's from the person next to you.
Gotcha. Interesting. Gotcha.
Dre
Yeah,
has a
they're not a
comment.
place. But you know what? I'm gonna say something funny. There are a
Yeah.
lot. I've thought about it after I thought about it for a while. There are a lot of closet Jamaicans, eh? A lot of closet
There
Jamaicans in
are.
this community, and
There are.
it's one day I'm gonna expose them all just because I'm me and because I am who I am. One day I'm gonna expose all you closet Jamaicans. But yeah, there are a lot of Jamaicans in the steel pan community, and
There
Jamaica is
are.
also don't get it twisted. Jamaica's got their own steel pan thing happening. Not as big and not as developed as in other countries, but there is a steel pan presence in Jamaica through the
Oh
University of
yeah.
the West Indies and through different things. And we're not talking about the yellow bird and the
Mm-mm.
all them things. We're talking about, like,
Yeah.
what
Real.
we normally consider steel orchestras. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah. There
Gotcha.
are. There are.
and I'm
Dre
starting
has
to
a.
learn more about it too.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Hmm.
This is the thing. This community, we're always learning. I don't think we're ever gonna stop. There's always gonna be something to learn about this industry. Dre has a comment slash question. Do we
Nice.
feel like continuing this idea of playing covers the way to get us the ultimate financial success? Has there been any other instrumentalists to do so? Excuse my ignorance. That's from Dre.
First of
Mm.
all, congratulations, Andre White.
Oh God.
Yes.
I
Yes.
Congratulations,
tried.
Andre White.
Jay, I was trying to
First to
cover for
start.
you. I was trying to cover for you, but the man out here. The man out here.
No,
Sorry.
yeah, I no, I haven't spoken to him. Congratulations. It's
Same. I
well
didn't
deserved,
congratulate you as well, but congratulations,
beautiful,
big man.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I love to answer this question actually
Hmm.
because Dre has put out original music. I mean, I've put out a few singles. I've done a bunch of covers, and I've seen him do covers as well. My
Hmm.
answer to that question, Dre, is if we think about ourselves, if we stop thinking pan first and just think musicians,
Hmm.
there are YouTube artists that not I shouldn't even say YouTube because I'm on YouTube and TikTok. There people play covers every day on every platform and record covers on every platform.
Hmm.
But then there are also people that record original music and put it out. And why can't the two live together? And because it does throughout the rest of the
Yeah.
world. So why can't it live together? And and like I said before, for me, doing covers is just a way to build of
Hmm.
a community of people. So if people see on whatever platform you have, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, whatever, Instagram, that you're playing a cover, they'll sometimes they'll hear that cover and they'll want to hear more. So I've gotten gigs from my YouTube. I've also gotten monetized from YouTube. To be honest,
Right.
I did a cover of SZA, Kill Bill,
Mm-hmm.
and it got I think 4,000 over 4,000 viewing hours. So every quarter I get a check.
And that's the benefit of
Right.
doing a cover, though, right? It's the
That's from
Mm-hmm.
just doing a
popularity.
and that's from doing a cover. Exactly. That's the benefit of doing a cover. It's popular. So, and I'm not the only artist or musician that has done that. But at
Yeah.
the same time, if I want to go and record, what my original music, I can do the same thing. So I feel like, and you look at Chloe Bailey, she puts out covers and original music. Everybody, it's not necessarily put out, but it's just it's something you put on your platform. I think to just get people to come to your platform. That's all. It's just content at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether it's a cover versus an original piece of music. And the other part of it is who's making money off of original music these days. Like
Mm,
how many publishing checks are people getting? It's there is some, but are you gonna? There's not that much publishing, like, unless you sync licensing. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
there's different avenues. Yes, but I still think it all can live. Sync licensing, original music that you put out for whether it's your album or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
covers. It all can live. It all
yeah,
can live under one house. I could do all
Yeah.
of those things and
I can
that's
totally relate to what Andre's saying too.
it's
Yeah.
different streams of income.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Yeah.
yeah. I like that question, Dre.
Yeah, it's a great question.
And
Mm-hmm.
the my in my mind, why I find that playing the covers and playing stuff that's familiar to the general public, seeing as we're in the position that we are, where we're still niche, it kind of brings people, it draws people in. You know, how many times have you sat
Mm-hmm.
and play? How many times have you played a popular music piece, even from something from a different genre, other than
Yeah.
the typical? If you played something like if you played a classical piece, perfect example. Where people aren't really used to hearing classical music on steel pan, but they hear that, they're like, wait a minute, that's so and so, and that's so and so, and it's a way to bring people in. But I think you're right. The balance here is once you bring them in and you hook them in, we can say this is what else we can do. Here's my
Mm-hmm.
composition,
And sell
you
them
know,
Yeah.
whatever you want.
and sell
Yeah.
them. Yeah, once you got the hook, now you got their attention. What are you gonna do with it?
Sell them whatever.
Exactly. Exactly. Dre has a couple comments. Definitely, but I think the balance of it for us as a community who play this instrument tend to glorify the covers more than the original content. Even with Kenny G's success, he had to create original music to reach the ultimate financial status of a millionaire.
Hmm. It's a
Fidel also has a comment. I
Very
feel
true.
like all those points are required for a panelist to get to the millionaire threshold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Oh.
it's a
Agreed.
big it's a big step too. Like you mentioned a name like Kenny G. You're
Hmm.
absolutely right. Big it's a big step. That's a huge step to step away from something that people um, something that people don't relate to or people don't recognize and create something that's your own original. Me personally, in the composer space, I'm not that composing is not my strength
Right.
in terms of composing original pieces like that. It's something that I would definitely work on more. So I can appreciate that also, but for most we stop at the cover step. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true. You're right. We stop at the cover step, and that's our ceiling.
Yeah.
And yes, you're absolutely right. We need to we need to break away from that thought pattern that once we get to the covers we reach, and then it
Yeah.
just keeps. Yeah, there's no
I
real
understand where
incentive to do more.
Yeah.
Because people are liking what we're doing now. Let's just stay here.
Yeah.
I
That's
understand
where they're
where
comfortable.
Dre's,
Hmm. Yeah.
But Dre, I guess my question is, are we? Because a lot of, I feel like a lot of that comes not necessarily what he's saying, but
Mhm.
it's a lot of it sometimes is the steel band, the steel band
Yes.